from Raman Research Institute, Bangalore, Dr. Bruno Huttner, Director at ID Quantique, Geneva, Shri Nagendra Nagaraja, CEO of QpiAI, and Shri Nixon Patel, CEO of QLabs. We've already introduced all our panelists except for Dr. S.D. Sudarshan, who's joining us here in the panel discussion. So a very brief introduction about him. He's the Executive Director of the Center for Development of Advanced Computing, a premier research and development organization under the Indian Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. He's been associated with C-DAC since 1989 and has held various leadership positions within the organizations. He's a recipient of many research grants in the area of information security and also holds several awards and honors in his name. So it's over to the chair of the session, Dr. Rajkumar Upadhyay. Moderating this session will be Shri Abdul Kayum.
Thank you so much. I think we had wonderful sessions on various aspects of quantum, from quantum computing to quantum communication, quantum materials, quantum sensing, and many developments which have been taken up in India and abroad were discussed. And we also know that there was a talk saying that the quantum holds a great future. It will have applications in various fields: healthcare, genetics, new drug discovery, supply chain, many places. But we also are aware that there are challenges. We have various challenges, and this is the panel which is going to discuss about the challenges and the prospects and how to overcome them. If I look at it, I see challenges like technological challenges, like for example, you require low temperatures, the quantum is noise, prone to noise. Then second challenge comes ecosystem challenge. This is a multidisciplinary field which is of a mix of electronics, physics, quantum, mathematics. So we need multidisciplinary approach in developing the quantum system. Third will be regulatory challenge, because we need to ensure interoperability among the system, and I'm very happy that TEC has come up with the standards, and the standards will make way for, so that the systems which we develop becomes, interoperable. And then is the funding, and I think money is required. That is the challenge, and there is Government of India which is saying that we will support this particular event. Prospects, yes, we have, as the presentation said, that is a huge market. These many jobs will be created. 44 billion market size by 2028. Startup investments happening of $2 billion per annum. So many investments are happening looking at the prospects of this quantum. So we have a very august panel with us, and I am not going to take much of time. We have an august panel which will discuss the challenges to overcome challenges and the prospects, and if the challenges, how do we overcome so that we as a country advance globally very, very well in quantum space. So over to moderator to run the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Setting tone for the panel discussion. I'll start with you, sir. In the morning, there was an announcement, and since you had very less time to talk about that, so actually in the beginning I want to tell that we'll be asking only one question from the panel, and there will be 3 questions from the audience, right? Since the morning there was no question from the audience can have 3 questions, right? So starting with Dr. Upadhyay.
Abdulji, but now we don't have audience.
But questions are only 3, right?
We have more than 3.
This audience is like qubit. They can take 0 and 1 together. Yes, so they fill up for 2.
So, Dr. Upadhyay, we would like to actually listen more about what is the quantum alliance that you are talking about in the morning.
So the Quantum Alliance is basically, we saw that various presenters gave their view what they are doing. Like IIT Madras is doing, IIT Delhi is doing, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Mumbai, Qubits, QNU. I mean, there are variety of developments which are happening. And at some places, we could also see duplication happening. If we can all join hand together, I will give an example of, I will not name. We import photon detector for our system, our QKD system. So in one of the conference, I heard one institute saying that I have photon detector. So I was not aware that there is a photon detector. That today I learned that there are other agencies also doing photon detector. So this Quantum Alliance is basically a group which is where we will put all the efforts happening in India, and so that we all can collaborate together, and to a prospective researcher or a prospective industry partner or a prospective agency or a government, it will be very clear, like, you search that, like I want to say photon detector. If you give photon detector a keyword, immediately it will throw out that where the photon detector research is happening, who are the people, who are the experts involved in this particular thing, and what is the state, and how do you contact them, their website, their phone numbers, email IDs, if they allow. So Quantum Alliance is basically bringing together all the stakeholders. As I said in the beginning, that this particular stream of quantum is a multidisciplinary stream. Physics, maths, electronics, lot many disciplines need to come together to develop an ecosystem. So Quantum Alliance is basically bringing everyone together in a manner that we do cohesive research in India, and also from the funding perspective, it becomes much easier for us, because now Quantum Alliance will also have a decent size of fund for funding this quantum research. So through Quantum Alliance, we will be able to channelize fund to the right partners, and so that as a country we come up with solutions in quantum computing, quantum sensing, quantum material, and quantum communication. That's the purpose of the Quantum Alliance. And if you give me time, I will also, because since you said only one question, the second thing what Honorable Minister announced is Quantum Hackathon. What we mean by Quantum Hackathon is, like we have designed a QKD system, QNU has designed a system, there are other systems also, other partners who have designed. So we are throwing open a challenge saying that this is the system available, please come and hack it. And if you can hack it, break the system, we'll pay you 10 lakh. So Quantum Hackathon is for the purpose of finding out the vulnerabilities in the developed system, and whatever we get out of this hackathon will be shared with the industry. That was the second part. The third part Honorable Minister announced was development of own QKD and PQC protocol. Our system, I am not aware about other system. Our system QKD uses Cow protocol and DPS protocol. PQC uses NIST protocol. So there is a time now for India, given the talent we have, can we develop our own QKD protocol? Can we develop our own PQC algorithm? So that challenge also will be given. That will again be funded through Quantum Alliance. So for which soon, within a week, we'll put up in website the details of Quantum Hackathon as well as quantum protocol development. And this quantum protocol development will be funded as Mr. Pradeep Kumar was saying, that we don't need 1 crore, 2 crore, it will require a lot of money. And yes, India is ready to fund that kind of money. So these are the things I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is Dr.
If it's allowed, I have a question about the development of your own PQC protocol, because my understanding is that in order to encrypt and decrypt internationally, you need the same protocol on both sides. So if now India is developing its own protocol instead of following what is internationally done, then there is a risk that basically it will be out completely. You can encrypt only within India, but not outside. That might be not such a good idea.
Let me clarify. Even in classical system, like we have AES, but India has its own algorithm. So we use our algorithms in our systems. Like our strategic agencies might not use AES. They may not be comfortable using AES. In a similar way, if we can have our own protocols, I'm not saying that NIST protocol will be discarded. Wherever we can use NIST protocol, but some of the agencies may not be comfortable with using protocol that is already known to certain people, certain agencies. So therefore, the market exists for alternate protocols also. Currently, for example, AES is not the only encryption we use. We use other encryption.
Just to add one more thing, it's not only just the developing of the algorithm, but sometimes the algorithm papers are already there, but we can develop in-house so that the complete source code and everything is available indigenized. So that is also required.
Actually, I would like further to this. What we are discussing that it is not necessary that we should follow it. We can create also. These protocols or algorithms are developed in different places. We can also come up with that. It is not that that will be barred by, that this will be used in India without making it, without it standardizing. So once we develop it, we will take this to the international standardization.
Can I add something?
Yeah, thank you.
Can I add something here? Yeah, please. So we have kind of implemented 3 of the 4 NIST protocols. And the 4th one is on the supposed to happen by 31st. I think we missed the date. But what we do is we don't use the protocol as it is defined. We optimize it, use some heuristic techniques, other techniques to make it more efficient. So I think most of the people are doing that. Even in US, IBM, everybody's trying to optimize it to their own platform or their whatever it is. So I'm not sure what the confusion is here about.
Thank you. Now, this question is to Dr. Nixon Patel. You have exposure to US market. You have you have labs in India. So my audience consists of students also and some of the parents of the students who would like to know what is the future from career prospect in venturing into quantum technology area.
Good question. So personally, we as a company, right, we grew from nothing to have 40 plus quantum scientists, and we have at any given time 30 to 40 or even more interns from various IITs, other regional institutes, even foreign institutes who are interns from BTech, MTech, PhD postdocs. So, there is also another agency called QEDC, which is in the US, which I'm part of, Quantum Economic Development Corporation. And through that also, there are so many programs which are kind of being made available for different professors, different institutes to adopt various courses. So from the statistics, for every 10 jobs that are required in quantum in US, they're able to fill 1 or 2. If they're able to fill 2, maybe 1 of the 2 is from outside. So the kind of job opening in this area, I think, is going to be phenomenally very high. For our own company, at any given time, we are looking for 10 or 12 different positions. And typically, there will be hundreds of applications, but I think the readiness is a challenge, I think. So it's, I think, cat and mouse kind of a thing. There is a need, there are these job opportunities, but there's not enough training in the academia, right? So, for example, 2 weeks ago, we signed the CQC partnership, the Center for Quantum Communication with IIT Hyderabad, and part of that is to build a 4-course quantum certification, not like a degree, or our idea is to focus these courses so that it is directly kind of mapped to some job function. So I think the various efforts going on, I think the job opportunity is huge because it's a complex kind of a space. So we get all the toppers from naval architecture or mechanical engineer from IITs who would get training and join in quantum, right? So I'm sure, I think, if just like AI 12 years ago, when we used to do, people used to think, well, what about the job opportunities? And now we have 460,000 job openings for AI that are vacant in India. So I think it's just a matter of catching up, I think.
Thank you, Dr. Patel. Now the next question is to Dr. Sudarshan. What is since the morning we have been, hearing about threat from quantum computers. So what is the state of development of quantum computers in C-DAC led activity? Thank you.
Yes. First of all, good evening to all of you. Namaste. Very important and relevant question. Rather than C-DAC, I will take a slightly larger picture. There was a project called the Center of Excellence in Quantum Technology that was funded, under which Indian Institute of Science has actually built a 4-qubit quantum computer, which is today one can visit and actually see it. But that is based on, the superconducting, the classical dilution refrigerator-based transmon computing. But there are other efforts, different types of quantum computers that are also currently being experimented. And as far as C-DAC itself is concerned, since you specifically asked for it, we are part of it, and I would like to take it back to our typical gamings. In India, one reason where we have failed in certain aspects in realizing the potential to actual reality is almost like the relay race. If you look at any relay race, whether it is Olympic, swimming or running, there are three things important. The first one is we need a team. And there is someone starting, someone ending. The first one runner and the last one, or first one. And the second one is the right way to hand over the baton to the next person when the relay continues. The third one is to ensure that, to give the hint, what is the chance of winning the race with respect to others, so that you decide to complete the race, to become third or second, the gap should be known, so that the last runner, when he does the catching up, or he or she, they don't overstress and chance of failing is not there. So we believe in that kind of collaboration here also. So whatever, being done by academic institutes, mostly on the science-based ones, they work on TRL levels, let's say 1 to 3 or maybe 4. It is at 4, we need to work with applied R&D institutes. There are some academic institutes which are also doing experimental research. And then there are R&D institutes like C-DAC, C-DOT, many CSIR labs, they are all into that. And we should take over and convert to level 7. It is 7 to 8 is when we should engage with industry, either through a startup or whatever ecosystem we define. And the baton is handed over in the right way, and we succeed in the end. And this requires, one is passion. The second one is the fear of, instead of being worried about being copied or anything like that, it is nice to say that I'm inspired and I give credit and take from there. And the next person gives credit and gets inspired. That is what I did in my school days, always, The person who is the best runner, we always go and clap, because I cannot run like that person. And when it comes to maybe in mathematics, that fellow will come to my house, teach me this, tomorrow I have to pass the exam. And everyone succeeded. I think same strategy we have to adopt. I think C-DAC is now currently doing it. We are working with almost all the stakeholders, be it RRI, be it IASC, be it IIT. And quantum simulator, for example, is another aspect where it was developed along with the IASC. The initial version came from Professor Patel. Today it is managed by C-DAC, but it is taught by, for example, IIT Roorkee and many other IITs. They are teaching us a course using a quantum simulator. I think this kind of open-ended collaboration is helping us. And again, technically to answer the question, the control hardware for the quantum computer is something where C-DAC is working heavily on. And we have good solutions. You are all welcome to visit us. The second aspect is, along with the control hardware, that can be used for both compute as well as communication technologies. The accelerators that you need, the supercomputing aspects, high performance computing that you need for a really usable quantum computer to be used, that part also being done by C-DAC. Thanks to National Supercomputing Mission, we have that. Simulation I already spoke about. And on QKD and Makan, tomorrow Professor Anil Prabhakar will present. There also we are a partner. We are in touch with SAG, we are in touch with C-DOT also on the Allies Bob and related, metro area networks. So I think in terms of technology, other than the core quantum computer per se, the other areas C-DAC has been contributing reasonably well. And we like collaboration and we continue to collaborate with all the stakeholders.
Thank you, Dr. Sudarshan, for giving insight about the development of quantum computers in India. Now, the next question is to Dr. Bruno. So, we would like to know what kind of traction you are finding that in deployment of quantum product in Europe.
Well, first of all, Switzerland is in Europe, but not in the European Union. So we see a lot of traction, but we have a few issues anyway. So I think the hard thing will be the change between government and industry. Today we see a lot of traction from government especially because there are many projects going on. So that's very interesting. However, at some stage, the funding will probably go down, and then you need to have QKD ready to go on with industry. So really the challenge today is to make sure that we can transform QKD from something funded to something which will make its own money by selling to the industry. And so it's very welcome to have government funding, and we use it. We used it before, and I think it is necessary at some stage of the development of the industry. But at some stage also we need to get out and fight in the real world somehow. And I think that's really the challenge we need to face in the. I think we still have a few years, but it will happen probably sooner than later. You know, there is so much money the governments in the world will spend on this if we don't deliver something which the industry wants. So I really think we should focus now not on getting money from government, but on making sure that this money is spent in order to address the future need of the industry. That's really the challenge.
Thank you very much. That means the industry too should look for a wider adoption, not necessarily that money should be coming from the government. So that is the, I'll say a very good word as a government to hear that. The industry is thinking in those terms. Thank you very much. So next question is to Dr. Naren. So when we can really visualize a reliable quantum computer in India?
Thanks. So basically, so we have a roadmap. We are also working with National Quantum Mission where we suggest a certain roadmap. So if you look at worldwide, there are a lot of efforts going on. And what we know is, see, there are two reliability metrics here. One is number of qubits itself and the quality of qubits, how they connected, and the way it can be used. There are metrics like, your decurrence time and as well as the quantum volume and how many qubits we can do. So we are working, as Dr. Bruno has suggested, we are working with real industry. We are working with pharma companies to discover new molecules. So we are actually working with the objective of discovering 4 new molecules every year. One of the biggest pharma customers what we are working with. And we are working with one of the biggest logistics company in India, where we are the partners for them in actually delivering quantum-based logistics solution. So what roadmap we have in the world is 1,000 qubits in another 1 to 2 years. But then there's a noisy qubits. These are not error-corrected qubits and logical qubits. So what industry needs, like for example, let me take the low-hanging fruit, that is quantum chemistry. So what industry needs there is 300 error-corrected qubits. So if I have 300 error-corrected qubit, I think we can discover 4 new molecules per year. Okay, and then if I have 2000 qubits error corrected, that will be a deja vu of a word. RSA will be broken. Okay, broken in 10 seconds. Okay, so that is another extreme that we have to prepare. Okay, it's not about like when it will be ready, but whether we are ready for that or not. Okay, the first is industry. They have clearly defined in 2 years we will have a commercial application of quantum computers. The way the industry is progressing, and in India, for example, this year we will be having 25 qubits in QpiAI labs. Okay, everything is ready except for the fridge from one of the Finland entity. So once that comes, we will have up and running. Okay, And our own roadmap is to set up some kind of a manufacturing facility for both spin and superconducting qubit within QpiAI, where we can reach this noise error-corrected qubits. Error-corrected qubits is absolutely important. Google has just had a breakthrough in last paper, and that will be somewhere around 2028, where we have 1,000 or maybe 1,500 error-corrected qubits. Once somebody puts 1,000, it's just a matter of time. Another 3 months, it will be 2,000. Okay, so that should arrive in 2027, 2028. But 1,000 noisy qubits in one and a half year. There is a project called SuperQ in Europe, which they are planning around 1,000 qubits in 1 year. So we have proposed a similar roadmap with National Quantum Mission with PSA, where we should have 1,500 qubits within one and a half year. Okay, and very soon we should have 50. Actually, there was a National Quantum Mission has had a roadmap of 20 qubits or something like that, but now we are changing it to make that 300 qubits should be standard. Okay, so where all industry require that, and after that it should be straight 1,000 qubits and error corrections. This is a roadmap what we are seeing.
Thank you, Dr. Narendra. Now the next and last question from the panelist is to Dr. Urbasi Sinha. I have been actually visiting labs. I have seen lab facility available at PRL, at RRI, ISC, and many other places. And from that point of view, I feel that they are having rich, lab facilities. So, and if you want to scale it, and make it available to other institutions who are not having, or the university who are not having, or startup who are not having test facility, how those facility can be scaled up further so that those infrastructure can be used by others as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yeah. So last but not the least, so I'm very pleased that, Kayum ji actually mentioned our lab and, had good words to say about us. So thank you very much. So I would like to just give a, I'll get to how we can scale things up, but just because, we haven't really had any presentation from RRI since morning, just to give the audience here a little overview of what actually we do, which impressed Kayum ji among others. So we are a very small institute. We are an autonomous institute under the Department of Science and Technology. And the thing is that, just because we are small, even, when Sudarshan ji was mentioning, sometimes people forget to mention our name, which is something we don't mind. But having said that, what we do this with a pursuit of excellence. We want to contribute to science and technology. We do research which is at a fundamental level as well as at an application level. And we are not very interested in becoming this huge, organization which is just doling out a lot of products, because that's not what our forte is, right? We are actually scientists, so we will do the science. So how we are going to scale this up? So you have a question? Okay, no, not to me. So how do we do technology transfer? So we, of course, are working with C-DAC. So C-DAC has been partnering with us. So one of the things we are looking at is, one of the things I'm looking at is the right side of this room, where there's a lot of excitement, but not because of what I'm saying. Do you know, Kayum ji? Yeah. Or should I continue?
Yeah, please continue.
Yeah, okay. So, so we are working with agencies like C-DAC. We are building our own quantum simulator. So we have what is called QKD Sim, which is a quantum simulator which takes into account device and process imperfections. So we started this. We have 2 iterations. Now we are going to scale this up in collaboration with C-DAC, for instance. Then we are working on, our country's first project on satellite-based quantum communications. We heard Nilesh ji today morning talking about his collaboration with PRL. Likewise, we have our collaboration with ISRO as well, but just not the same center. We are collaborating with URSC and LEOS. And so, our project is arguably, it is the first funded project. A few months older than the SAC effort. And, tomorrow morning I'll be speaking a lot more about that. Hopefully some of you will be there in the talk. And so we have achieved several ground-based milestones. So what we concentrate on is kind of, getting the science right. And then we collaborate with agencies like, for instance, ISRO and C-DAC to get it to the, operational level. And of course, we are very happy to collaborate with other agencies as well going forward. For instance, we have, delegates from WESI here. So we are signing an MOU next week to collaborate with WESI, which is the research branch of the Indian Navy, to contribute towards research and development in the quantum security area, which is really one of our focus areas. And we are the first lab in India to work on single and entangled photons. But other than that, we are a small institute, and something I'm saying the second time, but again, we actually work on all the verticals in quantum technologies. So we are working in quantum communications, we have random number generation, we have fiber-based, free space, we have integrated photonic-based quantum communications, all that we are doing. But we are also working on quantum computing. And so our own lab is working on photonic architectures, whereas my colleague, they are working on ion trap-based quantum computers, as well as neutral atom-based quantum computing. Similarly, in quantum sensing, we have the cold atoms-based quantum sensors, as well as quantum imaging using entangled photons. So indeed, this is what we will continue to strive to do. That is, we would like to reach TRL 1, 2, 3, and come up with, hopefully we'll keep coming up with new ideas which generate publications and patents for us. And then we would like to have a proper mechanism. So at the moment, I think we have had so many talks, Kayumji, for your enthusiasm with this conference. We've had talk after talk, so I've forgotten who the speaker was, but somebody said that there is a little bit of inhibition in collaboration in our ecosystem right now. And that is because, we are not very happy to share credit. Right? I mean, in the sense that, we are doing something, if we are collaborating, then sometimes, inadvertently, sometimes the collaborator takes away the credit and forgets the people who invented it. So if, the bigger agencies can reassure us that that is not going to happen, I think we will do this more seamlessly than what we have been doing so far. But having said that, we have been actually working with several agencies within the country. I'm proud to say, I'm happy to say, that we have projects supported by MIT, by ISRO, by DST, just not by DOT yet. Yes, so we have all the agencies covered, and we are a part of DST, so no issues there. We have several international collaborations as well, and a lot of support which we enjoy in the global quantum community. And going forward, we see ourselves basically, doing what we do best. That is, come up with new ideas, get the science right, and then pass this on to the various agencies who will now be very interested, looks like, in doing the technology transfer and also, going to maybe, we also have a startup from RRI now in the quantum domain. So, we are, given our size, we have 35 faculty members. We have the largest number of female faculty in any institute in India. So I think, we do things right at our own scale. And we would like to ensure and request that, the status that we currently share is respected going forward in the mission. And people don't get carried away by, we actually give, tomorrow you will see, we'll give talks where we refer to papers and things like that. So we would like to continue doing that. Others will come and talk about things in future, and then we will have a balance. So that is the balance we would like to retain in our ecosystem. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much. Now, okay, we have, yeah, 3 questions. So, yeah. So I'll start from the first row, and then it becomes easy to monitor, actually. So the first question from here. Yeah? You need 30 seconds. Right now or? Okay.
Yeah, it's a common sight that my leg gets pulled by Dr. Urbasi, so I'm used to it. But on the outside, the question was on computing. So if it is on quantum technologies, definitely we have much more partners, and we work a lot more. And like Dr. Urbasi said, there is a huge effort going on just not on the experimental and hardware aspects. Even on the simulator, I mentioned the quantum simulator. We are together working on trying to get a quantum system simulator, the entire ecosystem, from computing side, algorithm side, device side, key exchange, various protocols, PQC, all into one. So there also we are in discussion with RRI, we are working together. So there has been much more happening as a quantum technology in C-DAC and along with the collaborations. So the questions on quantum computing, so my apologies for Professor Urbasi. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you. So, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bhavesh Sharma, and I am from TEC, Director of Finance. My question is with regards to the adoption of technology and the indigenization of technology in India. Generally, it has been observed that like whatever talk that we have listened from morning, it feels that a lot of work is happening. But when it comes to the outcome, we have seen earlier also like in 4G, 5G, and now what I was reading that 7G standards by IEEE will be released in 2024. So by that time we develop something substantial, the outside world will develop a commercial application. Our big industries like Reliance will take up, or any other industry will take up, and they will adopt the foreign technology. And we, whatever effort that has been taken by our scientists and our engineers is forgotten. We leave it behind, the focus is lost, and then we move towards the next new technology. So the pace of development has been slow. The adoption of whatever we have developed is missing at the mass commercial level. So I would like to ask the dignitaries, what steps can be taken so as to ensure that whatever steps that our engineers and scientists are doing, ultimately they lead to they fructify in mass adoption, and ultimately our technology is used at the international level also.
So obviously the question talks about there's a lag, right? And you see the lag in the quantum is in 2020 you had this 8,000 crore whatever was passed and nothing has come out of it, right? So companies like us, startup like us are really suffering for that, right? What we need is, not to look at, as Bruno had said, that we should rely on, not rely on government, whatever, right, grants. But country like India still needs that, because rest of the world, especially Europe and US, North America and Canada, everybody got their like multi-billion dollars and they've got a start. We need to get that start. We need to have test beds, just like, maybe 1,200 years ago, this guy called Shankara put 4 months. You need 4 test beds in 4 different corners, and you need a fab facility right now, today. And if you have that, there's no catching up required.
Let me also explain. Most of the technologies we never attempted to develop. I don't think we attempted to develop 2G, we attempted to develop 3G, 4G. Now is the time. Now country is looking for 6G, which is standards yet to come. Quantum. The quantum state is today like what I said in the morning, the state of industry of semiconductor in 1950. So these, we are taking steps at the right time. Earlier, if everything is developed, then we are trying, what you are saying is very, very correct, because the technology will move forward. But currently, given the focus of this government under Atmanirbhar, for the first time we are doing R&D. Where was it, other than few green shoots, I don't think we had this kind of thinking in the government. But now government is thinking that we should be Atmanirbhar, and that therefore the very fact that 6G is yet to come, it will come in 2030, and we are in 2023 talking about it. We developed 4G, 5G when the world has already done it, and we did it in 2 to 3 years. So given the talent in India, look at the 50 to 60,000 design engineers in India working for Intel, Broadcom, Marvell, Qualcomm, all these guys, because we never channelize them to our cause. We channelize them for the MNC's cause. The government is working there. I'm sure the efforts of the government will lead into this. Secondly, as Dr. Patel said, we didn't have funding arrangement. For the first time, TTDF has come. 500 crore every annum, the R&D fund is fixed. 100 crore C-DAC is funding, 600 crore, 100 crore DCIS is funding, 700 crore. At least 700 crore is, and if required, more money will come. He was right that the quantum mission was announced in 2020, but nothing has happened. Actually, something has moved. Shortly, this will fructify. From the announcement to actual utilization, the government takes little time, and therefore, it's not that nothing has happened in the background. Background things have happened. I'm very sure that very soon this NMQTA will take shape in terms of funding.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
So just wanted to say that, I mean, both the points are very well taken, but if we actually want our efforts to get integrated into commercial solutions, as you are saying, one of the things that is of key importance that, even DOT has been spearheading with respect to standardization, because, one of the fears that some of these companies may have is that, we are not probably coming up with solutions which are at par, let's say, with the existing solutions. So this fear has to be, sort of taken out. And we need to always keep maintaining the standards and, meeting the standards that are set globally as well as within the country. And I hope that the Indian standards and the global standards are in sync with each other. Then, there is no reason for the adoption to happen for only the products from outside. But otherwise, if we don't make products up to the international standards, then we are not going to be able to see this adoption going forward. Right?
Thank you very much. So next question is from the third row. Second row.
Oh.
Yeah. So, no. Third row. Yeah, you.
So, yeah, I mean, till now, I think there are only 2 results in computers, quantum computing, which has kind of shown that it has done something better than a classical computer. In that, one is also been debated. So I think Dr. Nagendra ji was mentioning that you are about like discovering molecules like every year or 2, but I think there is no any published result where you can discover a molecule without having a quantum computer which has, which is more than 50 qubits of highly efficient one. So that's one of the questions, because I've been working on developing algorithms and then simulating and work with cold atoms, experimental lab papers with cold atoms to NMR systems, except superconducting, ion trap, and I'm working on photonics now. And coming up with algorithms itself is one of the hardest tasks. We don't even have, I don't think I have an algorithm now ready to say that, okay, I have an algorithm, I can go and use in a quantum computer to develop or to come up with new molecules. So this question, and again, talking about qubits, in fact, the paper is still blank. Superconducting is doing well. We really don't know whether this is the technology where one has to go for 1,000 to 1,000. It's good to be ambitious, but shouldn't we be realistic to say what is that we really have to build? Because if we are building it on false foundation, it's going to collapse. We need R&D, we need a qubit by qubit, which are stable, and then say that even with 4 or 5 qubit, I'm doing something reasonable. Only then we can build an empire of whatever it is. So I think, there are many questions which, probably I'll stop at this.
What is the question?
Yeah. So let me, I understand what you're saying. See, look, on the molecular discovery, right, especially on the small molecules, okay, which has maybe like 20 atoms, okay. So we have done the simulation. It's a proprietary algorithm that we have developed, okay. It was done on 40 qubit simulator, and we have tested that on bracket also, okay. So what we were trying to do there is first calculate the binding energy, and with that we do this MD simulation. So that's the experiment we carried out, okay. So this is actually the proprietary algorithm. There is one paper which come very close to this, okay. If required, I can send you that offline.
No, and classical system. That's all. It's done in a classical system, which means that classical computers can do it.
I know.
There's no differentiation between I can have an algorithm which is designed for quantum computers, but I can implement it on a classical system, which means that it is good enough to be called a classical system and it's been done.
No.
I mean, I understand you might have a protocol for the 40, 50 qubits, 40, 20 molecules.
20 atoms. See, the thing is, let me tell you this, okay?
I think in the interest of time, because there are many questions, we'll keep it offline.
Can I give a real life example? So your question is valid, but it's not valid because we have a live product, quantum portfolio optimization product. What you do is you part of your problem solution in classical space, part in the quantum space, and by doing that, you get advantage.
Sir, I think, I think, sir, it's very clear there is not more than 2 work which has been shown anywhere in the world which has beaten quantum supremacy. So whatever we are doing is we are just preparing to a system with more than 50 qubits. So whatever even optimization, I'm not going to buy that idea whoever puts it, because we don't have any results which shows quantum supremacy more than 2.
I think
we might be developing a base for it. There are papers, big papers written for it.
Actually, I think this discussion we can have, in the, not before that, we have a break, after this. So I think we can.
We had a question in second row.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Pradeep.
My question is, in quantum computing or quantum technologies, let's say there is a startup who wants to develop something in quantum. Something means there are lots of relevant stuff which can be developed, but there is a budget constraint. So what are the things which can be developed in 1 million, 2 million and 5 million? So my question is to all the panel members and specifically to Dr. Bruno, because he comes from a country having, which is very rich, considered to be very rich in terms of funding, especially in technology funding. So, the question is open to all the members.
We can only talk about India.
Actually, I have to put things right. Unfortunately, the Swiss government does not pay very little to industry. The Swiss government is helping R&D at the academic level, but it's not easy to get money for industry. So you can partner with academia, and then there is a little bit. So although the government might be rich, I don't know, I have to admit, but there is no big program. Some people are really fighting now to try and get one of these programs, but it's not easy at all. So first of all, now how much money you need to develop something? I think again, I didn't say at all that you don't need government money. I think you need government money to start something, and you need government money to when you have a new topic like quantum. I think it's totally reasonable. What I was saying is that at some stage you need to get out of this and manage to do your own thing. Now, if you do a startup only to get government funding, I think you will fail at some stage. And you need government money to start, maybe, but you have already the view of where you want to go. And if where you want to go is something where you have a market, and you can have a product which could sell to the market, then use the government money to get to this. If you just want to use the government money because you want to fund your research or whatever without the clear picture, I don't think it will work. And how much? For a quantum computer, it's huge. I have to say we have a big advantage in quantum communication that single photons, single qubits can be useful. So we, in some way, we have already demonstrated a quantum advantage. Just a quantum random number generator is a quantum advantage. We haven't demonstrated or hardly demonstrated quantum advantage in computing. But we may be able to do quantum advantage with a few qubits, for example, to do something which cannot be done classically. And maybe that's actually a call to all of you here, because I think it's very interesting to see that 1 qubit can do something which you cannot do classically. And then we stop there. And we say the next step is a quantum computer with hundreds of qubits or whatever to do something which you cannot do classically. I am almost certain that something quantum with 5, 6, 10 qubits could probably do something you cannot do classically at all. Not faster, but not at all. And I think that's a way of looking at it and trying to find new ideas.
I think I agree with this advantage and the supremacy. They are very different, and then for that you really need a quantum system of 5 qubit or 2 qubit to do, and not a classical system which can do that, right?
Thank you very much. Next question. Yeah.
Good evening. I am Dhruv Shaw from LPU Jalandhar. So right now I'm studying robotics and automation. So my main concern is with the robotics. Like I really don't find any usage in the robotics, especially in the unmanned robotic system. Like here in the presentation is mentioned that the quantum processor requires a cryogenic environment. So like if you deploy an unmanned robotic systems, like for example, let's suppose drone. So where that cryogenic environment would come, would be that delicate? So please comment on this, because I really don't find any use in unmanned robotic systems.
See, the edge quantum computer is far, far away. What we are talking about is putting that in a data center. Okay, so there has to be a lot of improvement in the materials, new materials where we can go close to the room temperature or maybe high temperature. Okay, so where it can become compact, and it doesn't require helium and closed loop cryogenics and other things. So that advancement is maybe decades away to put quantum computer on the edge. So we are not yet there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I'll take one more question.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Anish. I'm from C-DAC Trivandrum. My question is to Urbasi ma'am. Actually, from the discussions we had from the morning, this is the one thing what everybody is coming to think about is that the quantum is quite different from the classical currently we are doing with. But currently I am also working on the quantum side. But what I understood is there are 60 to 70% classical components are built around the so-called quantum to make it a complete system. Because Sudarshan sir also left one important point that C-DAC is currently being done, because we are also building the STN-enabled quantum stack, because stack is very much important from any communication. That is also we cannot avoid in the QKD systems also, because
So
that
what is your question?
Yeah, to the question, but the important question is how we can motivate those classical, the people who are working on the classical side, to combine to make a hybrid team, so that both the classical and quantum think tank marry together and produce bigger systems in India.
Yeah, since I was asked, let me attempt to answer that first. So you're absolutely right. A lot of what we do in the quantum systems, whether it's communication or computing, is classical. So communication, I think Bruno was mentioning, right, that it is quantum key distribution, not quantum key distribution. So the key is not quantum, it is the distribution which is quantum. So how we produce the key is quantum, and the rest of it before and after is pretty classical. So now how to motivate, that is of course a philosophical question. But then I would say that, if people are already motivated in doing what they're doing at the classical end, they will see the quantum advantage and integrate, right? I don't think after the whole day of discussion today, I don't think there is any ambiguity that, there are certain things in which quantum has an advantage. And of course, communication, key distribution, random number generation, these are all areas. So I think we need to, this is still a small group. So what some of us need to do is, say this more and more in various fora as to how, so just to give you an example of satellite QKD. Satellite QKD, the QKD, that part is quantum. But then I have somebody, analyzing the atmosphere. I myself am not an expert in that. Somebody who's an expert in telescopes, astrophysics PhD, somebody in control systems, somebody in electronics and communication engineering. So our little team of people, say 8 or 9 people who are working on this problem, maybe there are 3 physicists in it. So in some sense, these are all examples where, different expertise comes in to give us an advantage in the quantum era, right? Quantum domain. So I think this is something which we of course understand, but then, you've rightly pointed the question at me. Maybe I should do even more outreach talks than what I do, which is almost every week, and get this through, right?
Thank you very much. So yeah, one question. Last question.
Yeah, hello. So my question is, so I am from TCS, Soumya Das. So my question is in quantum communication domain. So as far from all the talks, we know that in QRNG we have advantage than classical system. In QKD we have some advantage, but there are some PQC system. So other than QKD and QRNG, what are the other areas in quantum communication that we have advantage in classical communication?
I can add a few words just.
Please go ahead.
In communication, I think you said most of what we have, but I think there is an advantage in quantum for quantum sensing, for example, which was discussed a little bit, maybe not enough. So there are other advantages with quantum. For example, once you have quantum communication at a big level, you can use that for distributed sensing, for example. You could think of a kind of quantum object which is so big that it can be used to measure a light coming from the stars. I mean, there are many ideas. And again, I don't think we know what will come. And I think it's always the same. We didn't know how the internet would evolve. We don't know how the quantum communication network will evolve. So we should not too much think about all the application now. We should really focus on developing them, trying to find good things. And the killer application is probably something nobody has predicted. That's my prediction.
So I think we'll close the session. We had a wonderful discussion. I thank all the panelists for answering all the questions, putting the best perspective so that all of us together as an ecosystem think about various technologies, how the technology is there, how it can be advanced, what we need to do, how the challenges need to be sorted out, funding need to be sorted out. And this is given food for thought, and definitely all these inputs will help us in designing our policies and designing and taking this work forward. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Well, after a long day of deliberations and presentations, where our esteemed speakers gave us a lot of food for thought, this panel discussion, though at the fag end of the day, was equally stimulating and gave us a lot to reflect on. Before we leave this session, I request the chair, Dr. Upadhyay, to kindly present a memento to Dr. S.D. Sudarshan, as the rest of them have already received the mementos, and Professor Urbasi Sinha will be joining us tomorrow. So we have one memento presentation for Dr. S.D. Sudarshan. Can we have a group photograph here, if you can step forward, and please stay with us for the closing remarks by Dr. Manjunath Iyer from Wipro. I request him to kindly come on stage for closing remarks. And before that, I'd like to inform all of you that we have a high tea arranged for all of you on the foyer in the first floor, and also in the lounge on the ground floor for the speakers and for the guests. And tomorrow we begin our first session at 9:30 a.m. Do join us for that. Closing remarks. You can start, I think, because otherwise people will go.
Hello, am I audible? Good. So, hope you have strength for this last session, the concluding remark. I'm honored to be a part of this part of the program to deliver the concluding remark, accumulating what and all we have heard in the morning. I will divide that into three parts. I will not take more time. The first part is from the government delegate, honorable ministers and the other dignitaries, where they were very supportive for the quantum technologies, and they were very liberal in funding for this technology, upcoming technologies, and they have a lot of dreams. The government has a lot of dreams, and to make it parallel with what we had some 30 years back, India took the right decision 30 years back, and that's why India is the IT and software capital of the world today. On the same lines, we have a similar opportunity. We are standing on the same threshold. In the next 20 to 30 years, India should become the quantum capital of the world, right? It is possible only because of people like you, right? So it is our responsibility to realize not only the dreams of the government, our dreams also, to make ourselves better and be the part of the quantum capital of the world. That is one part. In the next part, the dignitary spoke about the different technical problems, starting from the noise. One of the major problems with the quantum communication is the temperature. Today you don't have quantum devices keeping in your pocket like what we have in your mobile phones. Of course, mobile phones also have a lot of quantum devices. Transistor is a quantum device, IC is a quantum device, but unless you realize this teleportation or quantum entanglement in room temperature, these things cannot reach the masses. Right? For a layman like me, all these cryogenic temperatures or liquid helium or nitrogen temperatures are overflowing thoughts. Right? So that is very difficult to realize. But somebody in the audience also asked the same question. If these things have to penetrate deep into all the applications, how the thing should change. So this is possible only if we can realize quantum communication end to end with room temperature. That's where Dr. Nagendra is also trying. He is very happy to realize that at 70 degree Kelvin, right? For that temperature itself, he is very happy because it is far above the 0 degree or liquid helium temperature. Right? That is one of the technical issues. The other issues could be quantum teleportation. So in teleportation, what happens? You don't physically transmit anything over the channel. The information just reaches the destination without any physical medium at all. For example, if you have to transfer information to Mars, if you have to say people are trying to send people, the man to Mars in a couple of years, but is it possible to communicate with them with this type of technologies, conventional technologies? No, it may not be. It is not possible in real time. Even if he is dying, he has to cry. That will reach after 5 minutes. If you have to say hello to him, it reaches only after 5 minutes because of the round trip delay. But with quantum teleportation, it can reach immediately, instantaneously, because you are not transmitting any waves over there. The information just gets replicated to the destination. So quantum teleportation has to change a lot. People touched upon this in the morning also. So there are so many other technologies which need to be refined. Quantum sensors, quantum memories, for example. Those things were also touched upon. So it is very difficult to realize those technologies. Also quantum technology already may be there. Quantum technologies are there. But to realize them and put them into practice in a usable form, it takes a lot of time and patience and a lot of research work has to be done. And that's where your health will come into picture. You can play a major role over there and realize the dreams of that. The third part is on the different social aspects of that, meaning the different fundings, how we can collaborate with each other, how we can leverage each other's competencies and all. That part of the conclusion, I will leave it to you. You can network with the people today and tomorrow, of course. Lot of time is there, lot of people are there, experts are there around. We can talk to them, leverage this, and we can solve that problem. With this, I will give the conclusion. Thank you.